Today, I am joined by a man who needs absolutely no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. Mr. Orville Richard Burrell, better known as Shaggy, rose to worldwide fame in 1993 with his debut single, Oh Carolina. This was followed by the hit song Boombastic that circled the globe over and over, finally accumulating in 1996 with his first Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album. He won the same award again in 2019. Fast forward, and he has created songs that are the soundtrack of a generation, namely mine. Yes, I was that kid duetting with my mum in the car to school to It Wasn't Me in the early 2000s. He is still the only diamond selling dancehall and reggae artist in music history. His 7 Grammy nominations and 2 wins just show how much his music and moves helped bring the genre to the commercial market, selling over 40 million albums to date. And he's not finished yet. He's back with a new album for the season, Christmas in the Islands, a proper party take on the good old Christmas tunes. What an honor it is to have Mr. Boombastic himself on today. Shaggy, thank you for coming on.
Wow, that's quite an introduction, I must say. Um,
I could
it's
have
funny,
continued.
yeah, it's funny. I really don't. It's funny to hear all of that because I really don't. I'm not the kind of guy that really dwells on the past. I'm really focused on the future. A wise man said, "The rearview mirror is this small, the windshield is this wide." Why focus on this little mirror when the future is that wide open? So, and it could be very dangerous when you're starting to focus on the past compared to the future. So, just to hear all of that is like, wow,
You know what? When your past is as beautiful as yours is, I mean, it must be quite an overwhelming, if you really do sit down and reflect, it must be quite an overwhelming experience to see how much you have achieved because it's insane. Like I'm 33. I was that kid growing up to your music.
yeah, I get it. And it's been a lot of hurdles. We've done a lot of incredible hurdles over the years, especially when, in 1993, no one was playing dancehall music, but, I broke the barrier open with Oh Carolina. That was the first British chart #1 dancehall record, and then we debuted with Mr Boombastic, which was the first dancehall or reggae record to debut at #1 on the British chart. And then, of course, we followed that also with Angel and Wasn't Me, which both of them actually did their debut. But it was a moment there where everything that was being broken down was really done by what we were doing and how innovative we were at the time. So uh, it has not come without its struggle, the colorful
Absolutely,
past.
absolutely. But I think that's also why I really admire people like you because, before, and I'm talking very generalized, before
Mhm.
you, kind of like the biggest thing to kind of come out of Jamaica would have been like Bob Marley, let's say. And I feel like you really sort of brought that genre of music to the commercial market, and then a lot of people have followed you, and there are some amazing, incredible artists coming out. But I do feel like you sort of were like the real pinnacle of it. And so I guess thank you.
Much love.
So I want to ask you, how are you today? And have you eaten breakfast?
I have not had breakfast. I've had some coffee. I'm not a big eater. I these days I do like a great meal, but
Okay.
it's COVID and you tend to put the COVID pounds on. So I'm the kind of guy that you know, tend to just I think I eat like once a day.
Okay.
That's kind of, I'll have some coffee and then I'll have a really great meal at lunch and then maybe something small like a salad afterwards at night.
And normally, what would you be having for lunch?
Oh, that's a variety of things, my darling.
I
I'm
want
a
to
person.
know.
I'm a foodie, so I like everything.
Hmm.
So yesterday I did um, Helsha style fried fish. And when I say
Oh,
Helsha style, in Jamaica, you have in Helsha, it's just fried fish. It's with the onions. It's with the
oh, is that on
vinegar,
it's like the I call it like
escabeche.
escovitch.
Yes, yes, yes. I
That
did
is
that
off the
with some
scale.
with some vegetables, and I think in the night I had a soup, and that was it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I have to say, so I wanted to talk to you about Jamaica, obviously. I thought you were going to be recording from Jamaica. You're actually in New York, which is just as good because I love New York, but I go to Jamaica quite a bit and
Well,
it's one of,
I just got back two
okay,
days ago.
fine. So technically you're there. You're still there
Yeah.
in spirit. I love Jamaica. It is honestly one of my favorite places on earth. And we need to just talk about it because I think for people that haven't had the chance to go, it's the most incredible energy, the people, the food, the vibes, the music, the whole experience is so special.
I think when you look at Jamaica, it's the cool factor. I have a song on my Christmas album called "Take You to the Cool," and I look at Jamaica as the cool because of the fact of this little island with about 3 million people, you know, and the impact it has had on global culture. You know, if you look at what Katy Perry or Lady Gaga has done, that's Grace Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. If you look at what the Rock Boys have done, what you look what Ed Sheeran or any of these guys, it's all from this culture. If you look at reggaeton, which is a birth child of dancehall. If you look at Afrobeat, which also has strong influences of dancehall from it, hip hop with Cool Herc. It's amazing what the magic of this art. I was having a conversation with Sting, who wrote Every Breath You Take and King and Pain and everything she does is magic and all of that lovely album. It was recorded. It was written at GoldenEye in Jamaica,
mm,
right? And incidentally, at GoldenEye, which is Ian Fleming's house, where he wrote the James Bond novel,
yeah,
in Jamaica again. There's something magical about that island and the culture and the people itself. Why you have such a small island that has such an amazing impact on culture globally. You know,
absolutely. You were born and raised in Kingston. I want to know about what life was like growing up. Sort of paint the picture for me, not only your life in general, but I want to know what you were eating, who was cooking, what was your relationship what was your relationship like with food as a child?
I'm from a ghetto household. So you're talking ghetto food. Tin mackerel with dumpling and um, boiled banana, yam. You get a lot of rice with gravy, and you might get one little meat, piece of chicken. I ate that. Porridge was always cornmeal porridge. You do. You get a cornmeal porridge. That we would cook, that would boil. We'd put the cinnamon and it was you put the cinnamon leaf in it and your condensed milk. What I mean, to give it the sweetening, and that was always almost comfort food.
Mm,
Hard old bread, which is not the healthiest thing, but it tastes so damn good.
mm.
And you put something called anka butter on top of it and let it melt into the hot bread. For a kid, that's just heaven. So that was my childhood, you know. And if you get like a cake or a cupcake, you're a happy kid back in them days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we weren't used to things like in America. People like I remember the first time I had cornflakes. It was like, wow, this is amazing. I have corn. This is cornflakes. You'd get that as a treat,
Yeah.
and that would be sent from your relatives from America. Might send you a barrel, and in the barrel you have cornflakes, and then they'll always pack it with the soap. So the cornflake kind of tastes like soap too. So ghetto living, yo.
I love it, but you are not complaining.
Nah, it shaped who I am, and I have it to this day that your job as an artist and what you and your talent that you've been blessed with it to use it to actually change the cycle of your bloodline, the cycle of my relatives. What I mean? So, we don't have to do that anymore. We're not in a tenement yard with a shared bathroom for five different houses. They all have homes now, education wise, but a couple of my uh, uncles, daughters, and nephews, and all of them. They're all going to college now. Nobody in my family has ever had a college degree. Finally,
Mm.
and now I have a member of my family that just got into Princeton on a full scholarship. What I mean?
Wow.
So it's things like that you feel proud because you've used your influence and your talent to actually change the cycle
Absolutely.
of your you know your
Absolutely.
family. Yeah.
And when you were growing up, so who was like the primary cook? Was your mum cooking?
No, I was raised with my grandmother, which she was
Right.
a lovely cook. But there was a grand aunt called Miss Amy. We used to like to go to her house because she would just cook sweet. Like your grandmother would cook, that for instance, chicken and rice.
Yeah,
So it's stew chicken, rice and peas, because Jamaica is a gravy culture.
of course.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not the healthiest thing at this time of my life, but it's a gravy culture.
Yeah.
So my grandma would cook stew chicken, rice and peas. You get the rice and peas. You put the coconut, you grate the coconut. You know what I mean? You squeeze the coconut milk in there. You know what I mean? You make it cook down. The rice, you have that shelly rice. You know what I mean? Or you can get it a little clumpy. You know what I mean? When you have the gungo peas or you have the red peas. You know what I mean? And then it's you're smelling the coconut, it's smelling the whole vibe.
Mm.
Then you have the chicken, which is the brown stew chicken. You put the little brown in the night, and you put your tomatoes, your scallion, your onion, your black pepper, your seasoning, yeah. I make it cook down. But my grand aunt had something she did that no matter what, it just did. She would put like a little breadcrumbs in it too
Oh, wow.
with it. Right? We give it that for the gravy with it, the little breadcrumbs in the chicken while it's cooking, and the scotch bonnet, and
Oh,
probably I don't know. There's something she had to do in there because it tasted sweet, not sweet like a sugary sweet, just sweet. It's just a vibe and she was just, and we would just when you say, "Oh, we're going over Aunt Amy," everybody was happy
I
because
love it.
we just hope that she cooking.
What an amazing memory. Isn't
Oh,
that
it's great.
funny? There's always like that one person in your childhood that you sort of like gravitate towards their cooking for some reason. And it's just like, obviously, she had that touch. Maybe it could have been like a tamarind or something.
Probably was tamarind. Yeah, it would give
Yeah.
it that little. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was.
A little
At
something,
that time
something.
I was so young to catch it. I just remember tasting it,
Mm,
and she's dead now, but it's very few food that I had that brings me back to that. Because there's just nobody that recipes change over years as you go as people go, especially since now that cooking shows have become so popular. Everybody's experimenting on with taste, but that little traditional taste that you're used to, it's going to be hard to find these days.
absolutely. A lot of people may not know this about you, but I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit now. You were in the US Marine Corps for a while. How was
Hmm.
that experience?
The Marine Corps shaped me for everything that I had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know that I was going to be in music and I was going to be the guy that is put in a position where I'm representing a whole culture. And I'm going to be on top of the pops or on all these pop. But that took a lot of discipline to do that, and I think the military shaped that. I had to get up 5 a.m. in the morning. I had a drill instructor screaming in my face. We had to do our cleaning, and we would get our barracks inspected with a white kerchief, to make sure everything you had to fold with 6 inches of white. White
Wow.
people would say that you go into the military because taught you the military teach you to fire a gun. The streets taught me to fire a gun, right? The military taught
Mm.
me to balance my checkbook. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Yeah, yeah,
So that's the deal. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
it really prepared me for all of that.
Mm. And kind of linking it back to the food, what was the food like when you were there?
Horrible.
I knew you were going to say that.
Horrible. I mean,
Because
we
where,
had a
where,
thing called we
where were
had a
you
thing.
stationed?
I was stationed in North Carolina,
Okay.
at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, in a place called Jacksonville.
I know it very well. I've been there
Yes.
for
So,
some bizarre reason.
yeah, I don't want to ask.
Yeah, don't. That's another story for another day.
Oh my God. Yeah. But in the military, you had a thing called MREs, meals ready to eat, and they
Okay.
were processed kind of a food that you eat in the military. In war, when I was in Desert Storm in the Gulf War, we ate a lot of those, and they had a thing called chicken a la king. This thing is nasty.
I can't even
But
imagine.
but then they had the cheese that you would, it's processed. It's in these bags that you could have them for a while. You squeeze it in there. You have this kind of a meat that you throw water on it, then it becomes meat. So it's kind of dried, but then
God.
you put hot water on it, it becomes meat, and you use the processed cheese with the two crackers, and that's a burger.
Wow.
It's not pretty. I hear now
No,
that the military meals are much better now. I
I hope so, for their sake and mine, all of our sakes. I obviously mentioned in the intro that you broke into the music industry in the early 90s. Was music something that you'd always wanted to do? Was it always ingrained in you in some way?
It was ingrained in me in the sense that my grandmother was a big music lover, but she was a Christian woman, so she listened Patti Page and Mahalia Jackson, all those big gospel people. She would play their records. But there was one artist she always played, even though she was a Christian woman, was Toots and the Maytals. Toots was her thing. And
Nice.
years after I ended up making a record with Toots, and I had a conversation with him, I said, "My grandmother is dead, but I know she's seeing me right now doing a record with you, and
Um,
I want you to know that I've finally arrived." And he laughed, and Toots was such a great soul. We lost him this year,
mm,
due to COVID, but um, it wasn't, it was a musical household in that sense that she played. But when I really got into music, I found I had a knack to make rhymes up, and it was because of chicks. I was in high school. I was a young 16, 17, whatever it is at that time, and I all was on my mind was women, and I wanted girls. And I was in the lunchroom in Erasmus Hall in Brooklyn, and they had these cliques. There's the Panamanian cliques, the Puerto Rican cliques, the Dominican cliques, the Jamaican cliques, the Haitian cliques, and we go there in the lunchroom, and I'd spit rhymes. And I'd look at a girl I like. I talk about her hair. I talk about her hearing, her nose, her lips, clothes she's wearing, her handbag, her book bag, whatever. And I'd get her number. And I realized that if I spit rhyme, I get chicks. You know what I mean?
I
And then
love that.
I start making local reggae records. And I'm like, okay, if I make local reggae records, I get into the club for free. I drink for free, and I leave with the hottest chick. This is a nice life for a guy that's about 17, 18. This is like I am
Damn
on
right.
cloud. I'm
Yeah.
a ghetto superstar. And I just kept going, and one of those ghetto songs happened to be Oh Carolina. And next minute, Greensleeve, licensed the record. They're doing it. And they have distribution through BMG. And then later on, um, Ken Berry at Virgin Record is giving me £1 million. And I'm like, okay, you know, I this is unheard of, but hey, cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
then, yeah. And
Sorry,
then
sorry,
after
go on.
I think I got like Mr Boombastic afterwards, and then they gave me another million. I was like, okay, I can get used to this.
Yeah, exactly. Come
Maybe,
on, why
yeah,
not? Give me another.
yeah. Maybe I got a career. Let me see. You know.
I mean, obviously, like with something like like with Bombastic, that was it catapulted you into this like global phenomenon. You had the Levi's advert, you were everywhere. Like, at what point did you kind of realize, like, shit, like I've kind of made it. Like, this is serious.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna really knock you right now. I don't feel I've made it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't feel I made it. Every time I think that I'm there, I witness something else that made me realize I'm nowhere near there. I've sold millions of records. I've pretty much helped to establish a genre on a pop level. You've had people like Sean Paul and all these people have done in our genre. And then I go on tour with Sting and realize there's another level of it that I didn't know existed. And
So
I'm
what do
like,
you feel like you
wow.
would need to achieve to get to that point?
I think I was well in the reach of it, but I don't think I had smart enough people around me to get me there at the time when I was at that point. And when I did the 44876 with Sting, and I'm flying around on a private jet going from shows to shows, and we're playing Coliseum, and he's singing all his music, and people are paying, you know, in some cases £4,000, and the level of production, and how professional his people were, and how much excellence they demanded of him, and how much excellence he demanded of them. It was a lesson and an incredible eye opener, and made me realize, okay, we got a lot of work to do,
Mm,
in our genre. There's
mm.
there's a lot of work to do. There's levels to this thing,
But
and
that's
and
kind
and and me being at the top tier level of it, thinking that I was there. And I think any reggae artist right now out of Jamaica would be thrilled to have my level of success, and be like, oh my God, I made it. But I'm like, okay, yeah, but there's another level.
it's interesting you say that because it's kind of like what I touched on at the beginning of the conversation is that as kind of like the average consumer of music, of your
Mhm.
music, whatever, but specifically with you and the genre, I feel like aside from Bob Marley, who was and is huge
Mhm.
and an
Mhm.
incredible trailblazer, you did bring that genre to the world. And it's really interesting that you don't, I mean, I know that you're saying that you do feel like you've done that, but the fact that you sort of don't feel like I've sort of called you that global phenomenon, you perhaps disagree with that.
I disagree with it. It is a global phenomenon. I'm not taking anything away from that and what we have done, but we also right now have the lowest streaming genre of any genre. But yet still, this
Really?
one this
Still?
dancehall is the lowest streaming numbers of Afrobeat. It's lower than reggaeton. It's lower than hip hop. It's low to a point that you can't go into from a BBC to a Spotify or anyone and have a conversation about dancehall. The numbers are just too low to have it. If that's the case, BBC would be programming a lot more dancehall. You
Mm,
see,
mm,
so we have made some steps, but then we haven't gotten very far, and a lot of it is we have not had a movement. Like, take for instance, Afrobeat became a movement. Reggaeton became a movement. We weren't a movement. We started a movement, but didn't. When I kicked it out, and then Sean came, and then you had Wayne One, then you had that period, and you see Gwen Stefani start making "Hey Baby," and
yeah.
and the pop people start going. That was a movement, the beginning of a movement that didn't fertilize, and that's
Mm,
because we didn't have enough educated people in the right positions to make it go to that next level. The players at that point were not super smart. They were new to the game, and they were fed propaganda. Like, if you're fed that you are the shit, you are where it is, you're gonna buy that if it's coming from that guy. I would see the head of a company bring a reggae artist in, and because that guy is the guy that signed Michael Jackson or whatever it is, and he'll make some complimentary, oh, you're great, you're this, you're that, what da 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 da. And you would buy into that because you have seen that figure and seen that he has done these great things. And then he'll walk out the room, and the other guy that's doing the deal is like, "Yo, the boss really likes you, right?" And it's a mind game. and but they're lowballing you. But the fact that this iconic figure just came into this room, you're like, wow, I want to be on that. It's like okay, Chris. I remember when Chris Blackwell wanted to sign me with Old Carolina. There was a bidding war between London Records, Island Records, and they weren't under one umbrella then. Um, uh, was it Payday Records? A bunch of labels that was trying to sign me, and the bidding was there. And Chris wasn't the highest bidder, but I wanted to be on Island because that's where Grace Jones and Bob Marley and Sly and Robbie and that's the reggae. That's it. And I was friends with Suzette Newman, who was his right hand, and she picked me up every day. We'd have lunch. She'd come and get me from the airport. She was my, you know what I'm saying? But then Ken Berry called down from Virgin and he says, I'm going to give you £1 million. And I was happy that he was giving me £1 million, but you're not Island. You're not Chris Blackwell. I don't know you. And he's like, yeah, he's Ken Berry. He's the head of. I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't want to be on this label. But what he was offering me, Chris wasn't matching in no way, shape, or form. But he's an iconic guy. And I want that iconic. We got to be careful not to buy into. In the early parts of when music was going on, there was a lot of that going on where they realized that the people in charge of dancehall of this movement weren't hip to the game, and they would sway them in different ways and lowball them and put them in the room, and people work the room, and they'll come in and say, wow, you're one of the greatest managers, or you're one of the greatest, when they know you didn't know shit about it because they could look at the emails you're sending and know that just from an email chain that, okay, this guy is not very equipped or know what he's doing about, but they'll prey on that. So a lot of that went on also in the game of it. So there was a lot to be done. So I'm not discrediting what we did. I just said we didn't get that movement going on, and I'm hoping we get that.
Well, I was going to also say, because you're sort of talking about the idea of like perhaps the knowledge and not the right people, but also is it an element of timing? Because we talk about something like Afrobeats, like that has just gone mad, like especially like in the UK, like
in the UK,
my peers and whatever thing, like that is all that people are like listening to, buying into, like not discrediting Afrobeats. I'm a huge fan of it. But was that a timing thing? Or was that like people just were there at the right time, right place? People knew what they were doing?
I remember during my time that I used to go to Africa and I played stadiums, and the majority of the main music that they played was not African music, it was dancehall. That was their main music in Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, the Congos. Dancehall was the main thing, and that's during our time. And I was playing stadiums when I get there. And so what you have now is a fusion of dancehall and African music, which brings to what is now Afrobeat. And I still think that Afrobeat is enjoying a huge level of success, but it still has not gotten where it's supposed to be. They have not conquered the world on the scale. You look at the J Balvin, or you look at any of these Latin boys. These boys are global superstars.
Huge.
We're yet to see that with our Afrobeat guys. There's a couple of guys that have come close to it, but not to the level of where, okay, you could ask Mid-America who that guy is. You got Middle America people who don't speak Spanish or have nothing to do with Spanish or don't even know about Latin, but they know who J Balvin is. They know Nicky Jam. They know Daddy Yankee.
Yeah.
They know J-Lo. They know that, you know what I'm saying? We're not seeing that global thing with it. In dancehall, we got it to a point because there's an artist where everybody in the world know, which is Shaggy, and they know Sean Paul, they know Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? Those are your three main guys where everybody knows. Popcorn is also on his way up there. He's moving in the right direction. But you're yet to see that, and I wish that for that genre also, because it makes us stronger. If Afrobeat does well, dancehall has a shot. You know what I mean? Because it's from it.
Of course.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Mm. Big things coming.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I recently spoke with Nile Rodgers. Nile came onto the podcast a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and we were
Genius
talking.
guy, another genius. Yeah.
Oh, on it,
Yeah.
and also what a lovely, humble gentleman, just an amazing man. And we were actually talking about this idea of sort of this idea that to the outside world there's this whole like overnight success. And like if you don't know much about like Nile's story, for example, and the rise of chic, a lot of people just think, oh, chic were like this massive movement in the late 70s, early 80s. It was disco, it was all of that. And with you as well, it's like that clearly isn't the case. There is no such thing as overnight success. It takes years to build this a movement, to build the following, and also what is success? What really is success at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think I've achieved it yet. As much as people might think that I'm there, I still have that hunger, and you're right. I'm fortunate. I realize how fortunate I am to be almost 30 years and still be of relevance. Last year we had Banana, and this was a TikTok sensation. A record I did. I'm 52 and I'm on TikTok. That's the most youthful platform there is, and they're singing to my songs. I see Wasn't Me getting TikToked. I see all of these songs, and I'm like, okay, so I know I'm very fortunate to be of my age and still be of relevance in the game of music. I'm just trying to do my part to try and get my genre to a level of where it's recognized. And I'm tired of seeing reggae artists die broke.
Mm.
And there's tons of them that I know that have contributed to not just the culture or the music culture of Jamaica, but the global culture. And they die broke. I don't want that. We need to be educated. And it's a different time now. I think these new artists are in a better position because you have a little thing called your device. And that device is Google, and YouTube is your friend. Everything you want to know about the music business, you can find. Back then, I had to research it.
Mm.
And they would feed you crap.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel, listen, I'm not a musician. I don't know if I can, even if I'm allowed to say stuff like this, but I feel like the device is kind of like this blessing and curse at the same time. That it's a blessing. I mean, my God, look where we are. But
Yeah.
then, people, I'm from the cassette generation. I haven't, who there are generations growing up who won't know what CDs are, and
You're right. You're right.
and illegal streaming and downloading, and it's sort of, you start losing the essence. And I'm quite old school, and that upsets me a little bit.
You must never look at the device as a curse. And I tell you why I feel that. Somebody said to me the other day, "It's like, man, the world is so bad. I wish we could go back in like the 70s." And I said, "You mean back in the 70s when they were murdering people and having genocide and stuff like that? Oh, that was a better year than 2020?" The reason why you think so, because you didn't know. It wasn't reported to you. Your device makes you be firsthand there. Your device is power. Your device makes you have a voice where there's other people who used to be your voice.
Mm.
And it puts
That's
you in
true.
that position to, do you think Black Lives Matter would have happened if it wasn't for the device?
I know. Well, this is it, isn't it? Right?
Would you think we would have been having the
Yeah.
conversation we're having right now if it wasn't?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Donald Trump would have gotten a second term if it wasn't for the device.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's how you use the device.
Yeah.
Now, they're positive. I agree with you. There are positive and negatives to it, but then there are positive and negatives to everything in life.
Yeah. Spoken. I've just been told the truth. You have just you've just released the new album, Christmas in the Islands, which, may I say, as someone, I've got my hand up. I'm not the biggest fan of a Christmas song. I've got
Mm.
but I've listened to the album, and can I just say it is the best take on the seasonal sound that I have ever listened to. My
Oh,
particular
thank you.
favorites are We Got Us and
Mm.
Holiday in Jamaica with Neo.
Mm.
Um, Absolutely brilliant. Why did you want to do it?
You know, it started with me and Sting. We did a Disney Christmas special last year, and we did like a couple of songs. We did you know, Silent Night and Little Drummer Boy and reggae. And he says, wouldn't it be cool for us to do like a reggae Christmas album? I was like, oh, you know, it's a great idea. And so at the top of the year, I finished my UK tour and I started, you know, putting some melodies together and everything. And then the pandemic hit. And I figured like, okay, Corona, all right, this is going to be last 2 months and we good. But it kept going.
What we all thought.
Yeah. And Sting was stuck in the UK. I was stuck in New York. And I kept writing. And then I ended up given a chance to go to Jamaica. And I was stuck in Jamaica. And it was clear then it's going to be a Shaggy record. And so I started to shape these songs on my Caribbean experience. And so I called on people like Bounty Killer and Junior Reed and Omi and Shensia and you know a lot of these guys. I holla at Neo and Josh Stone and just friends, just people
You
I
got
had some
Beanie
great
Man on there.
being in man, people that I know that I have great, you know, just great relationships with. And I just kind of and what I did, the concept I took was really when Christmas in Jamaica Christmas it's not about snow and sleigh bells, you know, it's really about the parties. You know, because we're blessed with great weather, you have the day party, the night party, the beach party, the white party, you know what I mean, the rum party, the weed
I
party,
was just about to say the rum party.
you know what I mean? There's every kind of party. And what they played was dancehall and reggae party music.
Yeah,
Your 90s, your Super Cat, your Beady Man, your but you know. So
yeah.
I just literally made party music with a Christmas theme
But I'm
because
going to
that's what
listen
we
to this
know.
album once Christmas is done. That's what's so brilliant about it,
That's the idea.
right?
And
Okay,
and
you
and
might be talking a bit about Christmas, but actually, it's just got such a vibe.
yeah, yeah. And the thing about it is every Christmas you're going to be able to bring it back, and we can add tracks to it, you know, for the next 10 years. You know, I'm also doing a Christmas special because in the Caribbean, when I realized my remember they always have like Bing Cosby's Christmas or Mariah Carey's Christmas
Yeah,
special. What happened to the Caribbean Christmas special?
I agree.
So I wanted to have this massive Christmas special. So I recorded a Christmas special with you know all the guys from the album, and you know there's cooking and there's food. You know, I got Jackie Tyson come and tell us how to do sorrel and you know how to stuff the ham, how to be at the chicken, I know if to jerk the chicken, and you have the jerk, you know what I mean, and all of that. We had all of that. How to make the potato pudding, you know, how to make the little slush on the top with the coal on the top. And you just do all of that, and then you talk about jankuno, and so it's a beautiful thing, and it's being aired at 9 a.m. on Christmas night on both television channels in Jamaica, and
Oh,
also on my
amazing.
on my YouTube channel. Yeah,
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I'm going to tune in.
yes, you
Wicked.
should, you should.
And sorry, is that 9 a.m. Jamaica time?
Jamaica time, yes,
Cool. So that
9
will be
p.m.
about,
p.m.
oh,
p.m.
PM. Fine.
9
Okay.
p.m.
Well, then I got to stay up late.
Oh, my
That's
bad.
fine. That's okay. I'll do that. If I've got the rum going, it's all fine.
It's all fun if you got the rum going. Yes.
As a proper London girl, I do have to ask you how your experience was when you collaborated with Sacha Baron Cohen, aka Ali G, because that was an interesting, funny.
Yeah.
Well, you just pulled a face.
It was bizarre. It was bizarre
Bizarre.
to yeah, bizarre to say the least because it was you know, you can never find growth unless you're outside of your comfort zone. And a lot
Yeah.
of that was outside my comfort zone. And I was trying to find a way to be comfortable outside of my comfort zone. It was a great experience. And funny enough, when we wrote the song, we did it in this studio here in New York. So Sasha came here and stayed with me here for about 4 days while we wrote the song and worked on it, you know. And I was a fan of him because I was watching. I think he did a whole bit as Ali G when he was doing the weed bit and was asking the guy the names of the weed, and, and it was a serious conversation. He
Yeah.
was like, oh, this guy's brilliant. So I was a big, and he's nothing like his characters, man. He's a very
He,
soft-spoken,
yeah.
easygoing guy. And I had a lot of fun with him, and it was really, really good. I remember one time, I don't know if we could say this. So we were going to a BBC interview, and I was in the car with him, and he said, Shaggy, we're gonna get into this interview. You just follow my lead. You don't have to say much. I got this. I'm like, okay. So we're going in there and talking about the whole thing, and it was Zoe Ball and Courtney Cox were the two, I think, were two presenters on the BBC today. And he's sitting there and he's going off and he's in this character, and I'm sitting there and he's on daytime and says, me and Shaggy, we so lucky. It's the first time we could have, an interview by Cox and Balls and making it great. And I'm like,
Oh
on
no.
daytime radio, and I'm like, oh, this guy's brilliant. And I never thought to put both of them names together, Courtney Cox and Zoe Ball, Cox and
Oh,
Balls.
this is what do you know what? I will give him, like, his intelligence
Oh,
is like
he's a
beyond,
bright guy. He's a bright guy.
beyond,
He's a
beyond.
bright guy. But these were the experiences I have with him, man. That he is he's a special person. A
Yeah.
special person. Mhm.
Have you been to Carnival in London?
Yes, I have. I've
So
played
that's
it
where
twice.
I'm born and raised.
Oh yeah.
I'm born and
Wow.
raised Ladbroke Grove. And
Yeah.
your thoughts on it?
Love it. The last time I was there, it was raining like hell, and I was on the Saxon sound system, DJing the
Oh yeah,
mic out
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and we was just out there, a good crowd out there, but it was raining.
I know that's
Um,
the only issue we have
but
here.
yeah, but I was running up and down with it, and it's a big thing, and I love how it's represented. Um, will come out and show their strength. And people should always, whether you like music or not, or like the fact that people are, you got to come out, because that's when you start to show these officials the strength of the Caribbean people. Because
Absolutely.
all these people who come with this thing about, oh, well, I don't like Carnival because they're walking in front of my house and there's too much noise. I mean, get a grip. That's how you show the solidarity of your culture and show that it should be respected by these people who are elected officials. They are all here for votes. And when you are a organized number, if you're an organized entity as Caribbean people, they will have to, right, cease to your demands at some point, because
Absolutely.
they need your, and it's a show of power.
Absolutely. You know what? I think because obviously I've grown up with it and have gone practically nearly every year of my life, the one thing that I always take away from it, aside from obviously the party, the sounds, the food, everything, it's the community,
Hmm.
and it's not just, the Caribbean community, the African community, it's everyone
Yeah,
coming and celebrating culture, and just like it's so beautiful. And that's what I
yeah,
love about it.
yeah,
We're all here together. We're all
yeah.
equal. It's all good,
Right.
like in
And
that moment. It's beautiful.
and
It's just wonderful.
and it promotes diversity,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
a lot of people don't look at England as a diverse place, but it is a diverse place, but it needs to be represented as a diverse place, you know.
Completely.
And you know, as time goes by and it grows, things change. So we see the direction it's going to, and Carnival does play a big part of that.
Absolutely. We need you back for next year.
That would be great. I love it. I always enjoy it.
Just bringing it a little bit back to the food, I know you mentioned that these days you're being quite careful because of the old COVID pounds, which we're all suffering from, may I just say. And you said obviously you're kind of sticking to your like one big meal a day, which actually is very healthy because you're doing what I would call intermittent fasting. So you're
It
kind of
is.
like having your
It is.
small dinner and then you're missing breakfast to go into
Right.
lunch. So I do that
Yes.
sometimes. Very good. What are some of your specialities at home?
Well, during COVID, I got back into cooking. I got back into cooking, and I started doing my steamed fish. I started doing my brown stew fish. I got I really got into doing different types of pots. You know, I like, I do a great spaghetti and clam.
Ooh.
I do, um, there's just little things that I really got into doing, and it was about seasoning and taste, and having the making the food have a wow factor. You know, and I was doing things like I have a turkey sandwich I make, um, which is a salsalita turkey, but I also grill it after the turkey because the turkey's already, I grill the turkey
Yeah.
on top of that. Then I put my onion, I have an onion, chop up with the onion and the scallion and the thyme, and what I mean, marinate it inside a pot with the garlic and let it just there with a little with some olive oil,
Oh my God,
create
that
this
sounds
create this
delicious.
create this kind of paste, and then I put the grilled turkey slices in it. You know what I mean? With a Scotch bonnet pepper. And then I drop a little bit. This is the crazy part now. I put a little bit of Solomon Gunday.
What's that?
Okay, so Solomon Gunday, it's red herring, shaved red herring to give it that herring smoky taste
Wait,
on it.
what's red heron? What is this?
Okay.
What's happening?
You never heard of red herring.
No.
If you're a Caribbean girl, you should know about red herring.
What's
It's
happening?
it's herring, but it's a smoked herring, fish. And it
Oh, a
gives it
smoked herring. Oh my
herring.
God. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay. Oh, I quite like the sound of this.
right. So if you chop that up really fine, right, with the olive oil with it, and just dip it, it gives it a smoky flavor on top
Damn.
of the turkey. Then of course you put your lettuce, tomato. I normally put jack cheese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With a little provolone mixed.
Oh my God, you're
Yes.
killing me. You're literally.
All right. My tomatoes, right, and of course lettuce. Toast the bread, right, with butter, but the garlic clove, have the garlic clove fried in a pan like a solid it, right? Mash it and then rub it on top of the butter for that garlicky
No,
flavor
dude, you're
on top of
seriously, you're
this.
killing me. You're
Yeah,
literally killing
and
me.
slice it, and it's amazing. And you could add, if you're a bacon eater. I normally do my bacon. I would fry my bacon, and I do
Oh, you haven't finished yet.
but you could. It depends on if you want. I could do a. I could You could fry a bacon, but then I put like maple syrup on top of the bacon, just to have that kind of a sweetie taste, and then I
Okay.
then I put it with the turkeys.
Okay.
But some people are not pork eaters, so it's okay.
No, I mean, I eat everything. I am actually going to
I'm a
make
foodie. I
this.
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but that, I mean, my mouth is like dropped open. That sounds insane.
yeah. It's
Okay.
not bad. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Are you mainly based in Jamaica or in New York?
My wife, kids, and dogs are in Jamaica.
Okay.
My recording facility here at this house in New York is where I've made almost every hit that I've ever done in this
Oh
very
wow.
room. Was me, Angel, everything was done here. And
No,
I've
but the
had
big
this,
the big question is, was it
yeah,
you?
that's my story, and I'm still sticking to it.
How many times you been asked that question?
Um, it's not about how many times, it's really about if it ever stops. And you don't want it to stop.
I'll be honest with you. In my head, I was like, "Listen, Hannah, you got this one shot. If you don't ask it, you'll always like hate yourself." And I was like, "It's the worst question, but you got to do it." Like that was the song that, like, literally, as I said in the intro, that's
Yeah,
what I was singing along to. So you got to ask, like, was it you? I guess you're not
yeah.
going to tell me.
You get a lot. You get a lot of that. It's funny that we've been blessed with a lot of catchphrases. I remember when I did Big Up, everybody was
Yeah.
walking around like, yo, big up, big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. Everyone was like, yo. And then that was a catchphrase. And then I did Mr. Boombastic, and everybody was lover, lover, Mr. Lover, 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 lover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That became a catchphrase. And of course, then Wasn't Me is like the ultimate catchphrase. It's, we've been lucky to have done some really big catchphrase records.
That have still stood the test of time. Like,
Yes.
the other day, It Wasn't Me was on the radio, I think, in the kitchen, and I was like, this, like, if this was released today, this is a
Yeah.
banger. This is a
Yeah,
serious tune.
it is. It is
And
super
then my
profound.
next thought was, damn, COVID needs to finish because I need to get in the club. I need to go dance.
You and I both. You and I both. I miss stage though. I want to. I
Yeah,
miss performing. That's what I
yeah. A
miss a
lot of
lot.
artists have spoken about this.
Yeah, I
It
miss
makes
it.
you realize as well how much you love it.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time.
In terms of when you're back in Jamaica, where are some of your favorite places to eat?
There's a guy called Screechy that's on the beach in Helsha. It's a little shack. He does lobsters. He does fish. People go out there for the lobster and the fish, fried fish and lobster with the Bammy and the festival. But what I go there for, he has a thing called the soup steam.
Ooh,
So it's a steamed fish, and he makes a broth. It's in a broth, and it's got pumpkin. He's got those spinners dumplings, flour spinners dumpling, and then he's got um, Irish potato, a little bit of sweet potato, like some really chopped up um, green bananas, boiled into it, and it's almost like a fish tea kind of a vibe.
wow.
Heavy with the Scotch bonnet pepper, by the way. He's big on that. Your thyme, your scallion, of course, and cooked down. And because it's steamed and the meat falls off the bone of the fish, you know, um, the difference. Hello,
Yeah, got you.
yeah, the difference is um, that it really has that. The bones could be a bit of a problem if you're not
Mm,
careful. Yeah,
mm.
that's probably the only thing you got to look out for. But if you're a skillful fish eater, you know how to maneuver around the bones.
Move around that.
Yeah,
I always finish my conversations with a few quick fire questions. Are you ready?
sure.
Okay. My favorite snack of all time is a packet of crisps. What is your favorite packet of crisps or chips if you're in America, and why?
You mean like a potato chip? Because you
Yeah,
say chips, but
yeah,
you crisp, but
yeah,
you're saying
yeah, potato chip.
um. I'm not a potato chip guy. I like Cheetos.
That's fine. I love Cheetos.
Cheetos is amazing.
They're insane. I can eat a whole like family pack
Ah,
easily.
love it, love it, love it. Yeah, love it.
But do you like the crunchy or the puffs?
I have them both.
Yeah,
I
fine.
I
Whatever.
have
Just shove them
I
all
have
together.
yeah, I have moods.
Yeah.
There's days I want it crunchy. There's days I want it soft.
Don't reel, Shaggy. Don't reel.
Yeah,
Okay. What is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
craziest. I had turtle.
Wow.
I had
Never
it
had
in
that answer before.
I had it in the Cayman Islands. It's their big thing over there. And they always I was with Rick Rock at the time, and he lives there, and he was like, "You should have it. It tastes like oxtail." And it does have a taste of oxtail, except it's a little gamey. And
Right.
I didn't really enjoy it. And there was just something about it being turtle that didn't sit
Yeah.
well with me.
No. What has been your most memorable meal?
I played somewhere in Italy once. I think it was Catanzaro, and I went to dinner at this restaurant, and Italian restaurant in Catanzaro, Italy, and it was kind of a mom and pop kind of a restaurant, that they have there. And of course, they have their siesta, so it's a certain time. And they rolled out the most amazing Italian food I've ever tasted. It was
Really?
the first time I actually have had uh, sea urchin.
Hey, see, I haven't tried this yet. I really want
Yeah,
to.
where it's you cut it open and you eat it like it's almost like an egg dip, like how you do it.
Yeah.
And I was a little taken back by it, but it was so delicious, and everything was so freshly made, and the pasta was just the right thing. The fish was just everything. I think that was probably my best meal experience that I could remember.
Mm.
You know, and this was probably around 6, 7 years ago.
Okay,
You know, it was
nice.
lovely.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, a couple other cuisines, I think Italian food is some of the best. When done well, it's just the best.
It when done well, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the best food in the world.
yeah, easily.
Uh,
And it's
Easy.
actually so simple when you think
It's
about it. It's
simple.
just very
That's
good produce, right?
well, that is why, and that's why it's healthy.
Yeah.
You see them eat, but they don't get super fat or nothing like
No.
that. You know, but it's what they make their own pasta. You know, it's garden vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, it's fish. You
Mhm.
know, it's meat.
Mm.
Um, it's simple,
Yeah.
but it's the seasoning, it's the herbs, it's the olive oil, it's the love. You know what it is? It's the love.
Love.
It's the love.
Yeah.
When they're doing, if you go to these mom and pop spots, you could tell the woman that is cooking in there, she's like a mom cooking for her kids, and she wants you to finish the plate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like remember your mom says you're not getting from that table until you're done.
Yep, that was my mum.
Exactly. So that's when I'm in this restaurant. It's like she's coming out after she cooks. She come out and she's looking for an approval.
Yeah.
You like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Oh yes.
it's
Oh,
so
it was
true.
delicious. So why is that left on your plate if it's that delicious? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was. I guess I was talking. You see, I mean, I love that. I love that. You know, and that's why the food is so great because it's the love.
Mm,
It's the love they put into it in the Italian food.
really.
You know what I mean? And you know, I love Jamaican food too. Don't get me wrong, but it's very. As I grow older, I don't appreciate gravy stuff as much.
Mm,
You know, it's you're like I say when I say we're a gravy culture. You know, with Caribbean food, heavy, it's just heavy food. You know, but it's comfort food. It's so tasty. You know, but when you could get that comfort food on light food, that's the magic.
absolutely. I think you've just answered my next question, which is what is your favorite food?
Yeah, Italian
There we
food. Yeah.
go. Two in one. My final question, and I think the most important, aside from asking that terrible question earlier about if it was you, is live to eat or eat to live?
I think it's healthier to eat to live.
Okay. Do you feel like maybe you're in that mindset right now because of what you said at the beginning that you're trying to be a bit careful?
Yes, because it takes effort to um, eat to live. That takes effort. I have friends that I have now that they just eat to live. Like my drummer, he just eats just for survival. Doesn't care about taste. This guy eats fried fish, fried super dry, and white rice, and he'll do it every day. As long as he's hungry, he just eat it, and then he'll just go back and start smoking a bunch of weed, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I'm about the savory. I'm about the taste. I'm about
absolutely.
the presentation. I'm about the gathering. You know, I'm about that.
It's
So,
when everything
so it
like
takes effort.
collides together, right? It's the food, but it's not just the people, it's the where you are, it's
Yeah.
who you're with, it's the whole experience. That's what I always say to people. It's so important.
Well, that's why the dinner is such a major part of our lives. You know, I was raised in a ghetto where I never sat at a dinner table, but the minute I got in a better position with my life and my family, the dinner table is a big deal because that's when you know each other. That's when we could
Mhm.
sit and have conversations. So,
Totally.
and sometimes you get too busy to be at the dinner table, but I think we should, as raising your family, set aside for the dinner table,
I couldn't agree
especially
more.
if you have a big, especially if you have a big family.
Exactly. Exactly. Shaggy, thank you. In
Thank
my
you.
eyes, you are successful. I think you're wonderful. I'm going to say that it was you. You can deny it, but I think it was you. You can follow Shaggy on social media at, I'm not going to pronounce this right. Can you just do it in like proper?
The real Shaggy. D
There
I
we go.
Direal Shaggy. The real Shaggy.
Done
You know?
now.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was great. It was a great convo.